Hey, Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond sisters. Yay. I'm here with Danielle. Hello, Danielle. How are you?
I am fabulous. How are
I'm
you?
so happy you're here with me. And for those of you who are new to the Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond community, my name is Dona Rutowicz, and I'm an expert rapid transformational relationship coach. I use my skills as a former psychotherapist to help us to heal our soul fracture from divorce, reclaim our power, reclaim our brilliance, because what we know is we do want to live a full life. We do want to have a partner down the road, but the most important partner is ourself, right? We've got to be the one, we've got to become the one to attract the one. So that's what we do here at Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond. And I have Danielle with me today. We're going to have a conversation. So Danielle, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Let us know who you are, what you do, all the good stuff
Yeah,
about you.
perfect. Well, my name is Danielle, and I am fairly new to the group, but have definitely been welcomed with open arms, and I couldn't have imagined not saying yes to this opportunity.
I'm so glad
Um,
you're here.
oh, I am too. I am too. I am a mom of three adults, believe it or not, who are just doing amazing in life. And I am a 26-year education veteran, if you will. I coach, yeah, I coach school leaders to achieve results on state assessments. So I do that through relationship building and not always about the test for me.
Yeah.
And so that's why I have an unorthodox approach, but I do get results. So I love what I
Yes,
do.
you do. And that's the beauty of when we're gifted with a certain talent, we're not going to necessarily use the regular way. Like if you think about even Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond, we use an unorthodox approach, right? People tell us that, healing from divorce or healing from a relationship pain or healing our heart has to take years. You've got to do it this way. You got to go Freudian, you got to go in therapy, you've got to do this, you got to do that. Now again, it's not necessarily bad information. I mean, those are good tools, but we take the unorthodox approach that say we get transformation and we get movement within 3.5 months, right? Which on the outside world people would think we're crazy. On the inside world, just like every day for us here at DGB, right? We're like, oh
Yes.
yeah, like this is possible. So why don't we tell me a little bit about what brought you to us? Like what brought you to DGB? What were you kind of experiencing? Where were you? What I like to kind of think about is, that moment where you just know something has to change, right? Like
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
what spot were you in?
Of course. So basically for me, I felt like I was in dating hell. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was fine with the divorce. I actually
Yep.
was pleased when his stuff was finally removed from our home. Even my kids noticed that there wasn't tension.
Yep.
The first thing my son said the first day he walked into the house, he was on vacation when it all went down, if you will, right? And he walked in and he was like, wow, I'm not walking on eggshells.
Mm.
And so that part of it, I was totally fine with, right?
Yep.
So then I started dating because you were like you want to get back out there and
Yeah.
see what it was like. I hadn't dated since I was 17, so
Right?
things have
Right? It's
changed.
just fixing my chair. So much changes.
Yes,
17 and 18, it's so much
yes,
changes. Yeah.
yes, yes. And so I realized initially with dating, I just wanted have fun, like this, like just go out, have fun, experience like what I probably should have experienced in my 20s, right? And I
Yep.
was okay. I was totally fine with that.
Yep.
Didn't care one bit. And then it got to the point where like, wait, do I even know who I am
Yeah.
other than who I am as a professional? And I didn't.
Mm.
And so that's when I started reaching out for different things and doing a lot of research, self-help, that kind of stuff. And I just happened upon something just like what we're doing right now and said, all right, I need to see what this is about.
Yep.
Did I sign up or even inquire right away?
Mm-hmm.
It probably took 2 months
Yep.
for me to finally say, okay, let me give this a shot.
Yep.
So yeah, it was just I didn't know who I was anymore.
Yeah. And it's kind of,
Like me, like I knew
yeah.
I was professional, like I knew who I was as a
Yeah.
professional. I knew who I was as a mom.
Yeah. And you know what brings it, to kind of what I'm thinking about, Danielle, when I go back to that space is it's kind of like we think we know who we are until we get out there right? And we go, like you said, this dating nightmare, right? Where we're seeing all these, we're experiencing these different things. We're doing the things that we should have done early in life, right? And we're thinking this is who we are. We're thinking this is what we want until we
Right.
realize, like, wait a minute, this is not what I want. And number one, how do I know what I want if I don't even know who I am,
Yes.
right? Like how it's almost like it's like the blind leading the blind, right?
Yes.
And then it becomes this point, and I think you and I were just talking about this, right? Before we got on this, it becomes this realization point, something's got to change,
Yes.
right? Something's got to change. And so tell me a little bit about where you are now, like what you've been going through, what you're experiencing, some shifts and changes. Cause like you said, you're beginning and you're just what I would say crossing the bridges, and you're giving yourself the permission to take your time, right? Versus I've got to manage and control and teach and do. And it's
Yes.
different. It's I find it refreshing to be coached, right? It's nice because this is what you do every day. You coach people.
It
So it's
is what
nice
I
to
do
be
every
on the
day.
other side a little bit, but tell me a little bit about like your experiencing and where you feel like you're absorbing and gleaning, and maybe some pitfalls that you experienced and how you made it past those pitfalls. I'd love to hear.
Sure, sure. I think I always have been told I'm super positive.
Yep.
Um, and I didn't realize I wasn't super positive until and I realized that when I got into this, right? Because I would still not worry so much, but perseverate on something that I can't control.
Oh
And
my God. Is that like all of us? And so just I want to clarify this for everyone
yes,
who's listening. On the outside, tell me if I'm picking this up right, right? Because
okay,
you and I are very similar this way. On the outside, it looks like you're positive, you're strong, you've got your shit together, excuse my language, right? Like
true.
but you do. Like people are looking at you saying, "Wow, she's all right. Like she's got her stuff."
Mhm.
But inside, it's a completely different story.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yep.
So I had to take, there was something early on, and I can't remember exactly where in the modules it was, but it was something that you spoke about, Jackie spoke about, Katie spoke about, like
Yep.
you guys, all three of you in different ways, in different times that I spoke to you or emailed
Yep.
or whatever the situation was.
Somewhere.
Yes, continue to tell me, what is your mantra? What are you saying? What are you telling yourself? What is the story you're telling yourself?
Mhm.
And that's where I
Yep.
was like, well, I'm
What was the
saying
story you were telling
the
yourself?
story wasn't what it should have been, honestly. It was, I'm not going to be able to pay this bill, or I'm not going to be able to make this paycheck, or whatever the case may be.
Yep.
And I remember Jackie, one of our conversations, she said, you need to continue to say, I will have an abundance of money, and
Right.
I will have an abundance of love, and I will have an abundance of, and she named all these things and we talked about. And so the next time I talked to her, I said, guess what? I got a check in the mail for 4 cents. And I
Yes,
was
yes,
so
we
excited
got it. Yes, it's the
because
sign, right? Because it's the amount is irrelevant. It could have
it
been
is
4 cents
irrelevant.
or 4 million. It doesn't matter. But
Yes.
it just is showing you, right? It's reinforcing the
Yes.
belief system. Yep.
Yes. And so I haven't every morning, I write in my digital journal because that's what I have been. I
I
still
love
with
that you're using digital because that's your lifestyle.
it
That's what
is.
fits you. It's
It
perfect.
is.
Perfect.
It is. And
Yep.
there's so many
Yep.
stickers
Yep.
out there that I can capture digitally and put in there. So I can still decorate it.
Yep.
It's just, my way. But it's one of those things that I still get up at the same time, but
Yep.
before I would snooze a million times and then till I like last possible minute to get out of bed, because it doesn't take me long to get ready in the
I'm going to
morning.
just tell you right now, there's probably thousands of women who are saying, Danielle, that is me. Oh my God, that is me because you
Yes.
really, you just, but go ahead. So where are you now? So you used to
Yeah. And
snooze.
so I use the journal every day. And in the last call, I was on last Thursday, I believe.
Yep.
And it was, I really wanted to celebrate, but I was like, no, I had chaos in my house. And so it was just not going to happen.
It was,
Right.
and by the way, Danica is sharing. Yes, that's me. See, I knew it, Danielle.
Yay, look at that. Yes.
Danica joins us in this snooze cruise.
I love it. I love it. So I sat there during the call and listening to everyone's stories, and I captured all of the things that I should be celebrating. And it was the 4 cent check all the way to not getting the interview for that job. And
Yeah.
so all of the things that I have been recognizing have been wins for me, that I wouldn't have necessarily picked up on if I wasn't part of this.
Yes. Right. Because you know what happens, just to take a step back. And I think what you said, Danielle, is so brilliant, because we are not born looking at the glass half empty life, right? So
Mhm.
let's just, I'm just going to put it out there. There is a natural tendency as a human being. Some of us are going to look at life in a different lens, right? Some of us may look at it in a more upbeat note. Some of us may look at it at a more downbeat note. Some of us may look at it somewhere in the middle. And there is no right or wrong. There is just a physiological balance that every unique individual has, right? That's the brilliance we get to celebrate, right? Is that it doesn't mean one's better or one's worse. It just means that's the unique part of an individual. But when we go back to being born into this world, right? And you've heard me say this many times, probably in DGB, but we don't come into this world for our parents. We come into this world through our parents.
Mhm.
The only
Yeah.
way we get to get here, right? Our souls, there's no other way we get to be humans. We have this, it's the way that it is. So
Right.
when we're born with a clean slate, right? We're as close as to the divine as we possibly could be at birth.
Yeah.
And then we're given to our parents. Now, again, no right or wrong, no bad or good. Parents do the best they can, caregivers do the best they can, but we're given their issues and problems and belief systems, right? For better or for worse. There's some that will serve us and there's some that's going to hurt us, right? But then we get to this point of our thinking and how we're showing up that becomes our normal, but we don't necessarily question it until we do something like this work, where we're realizing that we are making decisions. We have belief systems that aren't accurate anymore. We're using outdated data to make our decisions. And we're
Mhm.
using the wrong tool, right? We're not using the until we, and when we do this work, we realize, like, oh my gosh, like these belief systems that I've been carrying around money or these other beliefs, they're not
Mhm.
accurate.
And I like what you said about it being outdated or antiquated,
Mhm.
because thinking about data that way, like that's my job.
Yes.
Like I look at data and I have to look at things
Yes.
that are happening right
Right
now,
now.
whether it's instructional practices, whether it's, whatever. And if it's an
Yep.
antiquated method, I'm like, guys, this method hasn't worked for 10 years. Why are we still doing
Right.
it?
And isn't that doesn't that why that's the same question we get apply. Why are we still doing it?
Yes.
But we don't think about it until
No.
we're coached, until we realize, like, oh my gosh. And then what I also think too is we get the permission to understand and learn that our body and our brain is responding in a very healthy way, right? When we're in fight or flight, when we're in reactive mode, your
Mhm.
brain is basically saying the only way I know how to keep you alive, right, is in this stressful state. Now, when our body's in a stressful state, it's not going to look out for solutions and creativity. Your brain is just going to say, I gotta send blood to your legs. I gotta send blood to your arms because to fight or hide. Like are you gonna run? Are you gonna fly? Like what's going on? And so what ends up happening is our brain goes to the familiar. Now remember, right? Familiar doesn't mean good. It
Right.
would mean it is,
What
but
you
it
know.
goes to what everything that could go wrong. Like, oh my God, am I gonna be able to make this next paycheck? Oh my God, am I gonna have enough money? Oh my God. Like I've had this conversation with many, many people, and it mattered not what was in their bank. They could have $0 and they could have $10 million. But if they had a money belief system that was, it didn't matter what came across their path, it was never enough. They always were in this mode of, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? How am I going to handle it? How am I going to handle it? And when we understand that, wait a minute, this is a natural body reaction, but it's not my truth. It's not my fact.
Yeah.
Right. And then as Jackie was saying, and as Katie was saying, and I was saying, and as you begin to implement is, no, I'm going to celebrate these things that are coming my way that seem like they're stumbling blocks are
Or
actually the
even
stepping stone.
insignificant. Four
There's
cents normally to me would have been so insignificant,
yes.
but it
You know
was, but
what?
it meant
Danielle. All
so
right.
much.
Yes. And this is, I'm going to cry thinking about this, right? Because seriously, like this is how much the emotions coming up for me. and this is not religion, okay? This is more spiritual, but we were taught, there was a conversation this morning about the little boy that fed the thousands when Jesus was walking this earth. Right? That little boy, he was just on his way home. He just had his mom packed him a sandwich, right? Or whatever, and he had some fish that he caught. And Jesus was doing the Sermon on the Mount. People were getting hungry. The disciples went out to find food. All they could find was this little boy and his fish and his 2 loaves of bread. And Jesus is able to multiply it to feed the thousands. Your 4 cents is everything. You just put on $1 million. That's $4 million to you, truly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it will multiply, right? Because it's not only multiplying in the physical form, it's multiplying in the energetic, spiritual connection with yourself and the belief system of who you are, where you're going, what's possible, and the healing of your heart, which there will be no room. When we're that abundant and we're feeling that stable, there's no room for scarcity.
No, there isn't.
We squeeze it out.
Yes, it has been huge. And another thing that I did, in addition to writing what I'm grateful for, and writing those miracle moments, because there have been several, is I send to my leaders every Sunday a leadership quote to inspire them for their week. So something that has, and I've always sent stuff, but I never did it with purpose.
This is it. Look at my shirt.
Oh, look at that.
Like, you know, right?
It's
how
purpose.
It's purpose, because every thought that we have, every belief system that we hold, it's energetic frequency, and it's going to go somewhere, right? Yes. Energy needs to be told where to go. No one has ever taught us this. No one has ever told us that we can actually maintain, I hate to say the word control, because I don't necessarily believe in control, but we could influence where it's going. But when we give something purpose, we now have planted a mustard seed, and now that multiplies, and it now has your love and your intention of what the purpose is.
Right.
Freaking fantastic, Danielle.
Yes.
And what's the chances I wear this shirt today? Like,
right? I know. The fact that I would even, I love it.
And by the way, just so you know, when I was getting ready for this, you know, I was just outside and I had said, let me just change my shirt and wear something different. This shirt literally like fell out of my armoire. I was like, oh, this is cute. I'll wear this.
Oh, it works.
It works. And sure enough.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Because that's what I want to do is I feel like I'm living with purpose now.
I love it. Yes.
Yes. And I'm not surviving.
You're no longer, yes. And you're living with purpose, which now it goes back to what Danica and you and I were talking about. You're no longer hitting the snooze. I'm sure there's some days you're going to snooze. Like, I mean, it's normal, but most days, if we think about what we do most of the time, you're waking up with purpose and you're excited for the day.
Yes. And I keep my iPad right there with my Apple Pen. And that's one of the first things I do. Next thing I do is Wordle, because my kids have this competition going.
So Wordles. I love the Wordles. Yes.
Yes. I have to beat them. So it's healthy competition between us. But so those are the things.
And isn't it different, right? Because in the past, we have less than zest for life.
Oh, absolutely.
Right now we have more than zest. And I think I don't know if we were talking about this on Thursday, but we were talking about, again, going back to on purpose. Our brain is a really good servant. It makes a shitty leader.
Yes.
Right? It needs purpose. Like I like to say, especially way back in my career, early on in my days when I was working with younger children, and I was working with children of divorced families, right? Of how to help them manage. And there used to be something called in our school system called the Banana Splits program. I don't know if and basically the Banana Splits program was when it's helping children from divorced families. So other children who were going through the same thing would cope together and whatever. And there was a woman who had been running the program for many years. And she said, Donna, children need 3 things, right? They don't want you to talk about your ex-husband, right? They don't want to know what's going on. What they need is they need to know that they're safe. They need to know they have a schedule, and they need to know you love them, right?
Consistency, yes.
It- and the reason why I share that now is that's what we need for ourselves.
Yep.
Right? We need to give that to ourselves and give ourselves that purpose, and knowing that our brain is going to want to think a million different things, but it needs to be directed. And we need to say, thank you, brain, so much
Mhm.
for doing the best job that you've been doing, because you've been keeping alive. But guess what I'm going to do now? I'm taking over. I have a purpose now. And
Yes.
there's nothing greater than that, because now, my friend, you, what's possible multiplies, right?
Yes.
A thousandfold. Your children get to see a mom who, no matter what comes her way, is able to overcome it. You're giving them the skills. And again, this is another conversation I was having, is we don't want to prevent our children from experiencing pain, because it's
Mhm.
inevitable,
Right.
but we want to show them how to move through it
Right.
and how to overcome it, and on purpose. So tell me how these quotes have been working for your team when you're sending them out.
Yeah, it's empowering them.
Mm-hmm.
The things I'm seeing them do in field that they would have never done before.
Yep.
And then now they've started sending their own quotes.
This is, again, the
Mhm.
multiplication factor, right?
Yes. And so like the one task that has been really
Yep.
challenging for me is the 50 things.
Mm,
So I'm still not at 50. Like let's be
that's
real.
okay.
But I have challenged them all to find 50 things about themselves. And so they'll just send a number in our messaging and like 20. And I'm like, I can come up with 20 for you right now, but I'm letting them, and I will help filter their things. But that has been so empowering to see them love themselves again, because they had gotten into a space with, because we work with very underprivileged children in low socioeconomic areas that would never have an opportunity to go to college, right? So a lot of the students that we work with are first gen college graduates, just like myself. I'm
Mhm.
also a first gen college
Yep.
graduate, and but of minorities, right? So
Mhm.
lots of different minorities that I work with, and so they struggle. These kids struggle. They have real life issues that they're working with, and sometimes it will get our leaders down.
Yep.
And so now I'm seeing them focus on the positive
Oh,
things.
it's giving me, I mean, I can't even tell you the chills that are going through my system right now,
It's
right?
amazing.
Because again, this is the 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 impact, right, and the purpose that you
Mhm.
came to Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond, because you, to do the work on yourself, right?
Yes.
To what I would say, come into our own alignment, to choose us, to
Yes.
invest in ourselves, because we know we are the best. We are our own best investment, right?
Yes.
And we know without a doubt the investment is going to be returned, right? There's an ROI. So
Absolutely.
that's number one, hands down, why we're here. However,
Yes.
what we realize when we're here is that it's not about us per se. Like,
No.
it really, like, we were led to do this work because we have an impact for this world. And if
Yes.
we're barely surviving, right? If we're
Mhm.
operating on a pilot light, how are we going to be the spark
Yes.
for our teams,
Yes.
for our loved ones? We You're not. And then what ends up happening is years and years and years and years and years go by if we don't do the work, right? That's the risk that you take if you don't do it, and you end up really going to your grave never living and making that impact. And that's a tragedy,
Yes.
because as you see, the work that you're doing is impacting your children, it's impacting your team,
Mhm.
which then
Mhm.
the team is getting what they need, the food that they need in order to impact themselves and
Mhm.
their friends and their team, which then directly correlates to the children.
Mhm.
That will directly correlate to that child's life path
Mhm.
for the rest of their life. And then that child's child.
Mhm.
And that child, because all it takes is that child to see one role model that gives them a beacon of hope,
Yes.
right? Or a beacon of what's possible.
Right. And
That's
I
all
was
it takes.
really good about giving and giving and giving to everyone else. And when you said earlier, we have
Yep.
the permission, Yeah, when I finally gave permission for myself,
Yes.
that's when I started noticing the impact it was having
Mm.
in my schools.
And let's go to the data on that, okay? Because
Yeah,
this is really important, not only for us to
yeah,
reiterate for ourselves, but I think the data here is if you're listening to this to really hear this, right? Because as
mhm,
women, coming from early childhood, right, caregiving, even
yeah,
societal beliefs, the way that we've learned how to manage stress in our own homes, like
mhm,
we will put ourselves last and put other people first. Now,
always.
again, that in itself, it is good to help people. Get I get that, but it's
Mhm,
the when it hurts us is when we abandon ourselves, right? When we put other people and then we forget about ourselves, right? And we think that, oh my gosh, if I take time for myself, if I choose me over doing this, then that
mhm,
other person is going to hurt, right? Or I'm gonna someone's gonna lose along the way. Someone's gonna get hurt along the way because it again, it's not necessarily fact, it's feeling. But
yes.
here, the true data, and I have seen this happen time and time and time again, is when we do choose ourselves, right? Because we do the work because we could choose ourselves and still be a good parent and still good be a good
Mhm,
person, sister, whatever, mother, whatever you want to be, leader. But what the data shows us is that we help people more.
uh-huh. And
Right?
I already see it, and I'm still
Yes.
so fresh, you know?
Yes. And this is just the beginning, Danielle, right?
Yes,
In your work, right? Like you
yes.
said, what are you, how many weeks in on the program? Are you four, five?
5,
Yeah,
5,
5 weeks,
and
right?
yeah,
Yep.
module 3.
Yep. Yep.
I'm
And
staying
so
in forgiveness for a little
that's
bit
it.
longer,
And
but that's
that's
okay.
totally cool because that's where you're
Mhm.
supposed to be.
Yeah,
Right?
I've been rewatching and rewatching just to
Yeah.
really have it resonate deeply. Because, like you said early on, you can't go through this at your pace
Yep.
because everybody's pace is different.
Yep.
And
Yep.
the first 2, I was like, "Ah, I got this," and got to forgiveness, and I was like, "Okay, I'm
Oh,
gonna stay
I
here
hit
a
the
little
wall.
bit. I'm gonna stay here a little bit
I'm just
longer."
gonna sit right here for a little bit.
Yes, and I'm okay with that because I see already how I'm being transformed,
That's
truly.
that's exactly what I was gonna say, right? Is we no longer look because again, and especially that you're in a school environment, right? Like if we think about a school environment, everybody has to move through it a certain time. We won't move through it a certain way. The information is presented. And if you miss it, well, you missed it. And
Right.
in the past, right, children get left back and they have to repeat grades and things. That this is not the work we do at Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond. We are 100% in the quantum timeline, which means we could collapse time. It doesn't need to take us 20 years to get
Right.
transformation. Right? We don't have to follow through like it has to be this way, and it's really giving us the permission to say that we've been successful in so many areas of our life, and just because we haven't been able to move the needle yet, the
Mhm.
only reason is because we were using the wrong tools. And now when we learn the right tools, we could 100% move the needle. But there is no necessarily a timeline here, right? And you get the availability to say to myself that this is just the beginning. I'm just learning this,
Mhm.
right? And that you're getting the transformation, the universal data that you're seeing in yourself, the universal data that you're seeing in your team and your staff and the children that you're reaching and everybody. That's all you need. That's the proof,
Right. Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Not what we think, right? Because again, as women, tell me we don't do this. I should be doing this. I should be there. I'm far behind or I'm too far ahead. Whatever it is, we have a lot of rules.
We are our own worst critics.
100%.
Yes.
And if you ever, for those of you who are listening, Danielle knows this because we teach this in DGB. But what I'll invite you to do is just take a moment back when you have this rule that you're giving yourself. Just take
Mhm.
a moment back and say, according to who, right?
Yeah.
Who created this rule?
Mhm.
Is this even
Mhm.
accurate? Because 99.99% of the time, we have no idea who created the rule, not even
Mhm.
us, and it's not accurate.
No, not at all.
So, what would you say, Danielle, to the woman who's out there
Mhm.
who is exactly like you, right? The divorce was she's done, finished,
Yeah.
and actually quite a relief, right? It's she's
Yes.
got her energy back in her home. Her home is peaceful. She's
Yeah.
got a good job, right? She's her family is in order. Doesn't mean we don't need refinement. There's always things that we could refine and ebb
Of
and flow,
course.
but for the most part, stable. But it's this part, the personal side, that she just can't quite move the needle on, and she knows something has to change. What would you tell her? Like, what would, coming from where you are, where you've been, and what you've sort of experienced, what could you glean?
Honestly, what I could glean and what I would share or say is to give yourself grace,
Ah, I,
and
mhm.
really to give yourself grace. I think once I said, you know what, I'm going to give myself grace. I
No,
am
that's what I'm putting
going
there. Just
to
grace.
reach
Yep.
out and say, this is what I need for me so
Yes.
that I can be better for others. That's when it changed for me.
100%. a hundred
That's when it
percent.
changed for me.
And at least,
Because you
yeah.
said something earlier about people are their perception from the outside, right? And looking at you coming in,
Yep.
and
Yep.
I get oftentimes, oh, you're so intimidating. You know, you just have it going on. You know what to do. You're confident. And yeah, like on the outside and in my professional job, absolutely. But this was also coming from um, personal situations too. They're just like, ah, you're always like so put together. And I'm like, well, because I have to be. Because
Yes.
if I didn't do that, then I would be a sobbing,
Yep.
blubbering fool,
Right.
because on the inside, that's not what was happening.
Yep.
And so I had to provide myself the grace to say, you know what? Yes, you may have it going on the outside, but you need to be able to, like, I always disliked that statement, fake it till you make it,
Yes. I know. I do too. I do too. Yep.
because it
Yep.
really isn't, it isn't getting you anywhere.
And you're not going to fake it till you make it. It's not going to happen.
You're
If
going
you
to fall
don't change,
apart.
yeah. And if you don't change your internal belief systems, because it's not about the positive thinking, just think this, just think this, just this, think this. We're actually creating new neural pathways in our brain. We're actually creating a new physiological system. We're down regulating emotions, thoughts, and beliefs that no longer serve us, and up regulating the ones we do. So it's science. It's not just about thinking.
Yes.
Yeah, it's science. Yep.
Because I was positive.
Yep.
I was probably the most positive person you could ask anybody.
Yep.
And so that wasn't helping me.
Yep.
It was how I internally responded to
Yep.
scenarios, situations, events, whatever. That's what's changing.
Yep.
Is
And it's so interesting because people like women like you and like myself, right? Who I would say we're high achieving women, we're strong, we're resilient. Like we got the skills to pay the bills. Let's just put it that way, right? Like we can handle it. However, like you said, it doesn't mean we want to. We've been forced to.
yes.
This wasn't a choice. Like it's been forced to. But it's so surprising to me that when someone decides to climb up a ladder, how very quickly community could sort of take that person and sort of pull them back. They want to pull them back down to mediocrity, right? Like, why do you need that? Why do you need coaching? Like, you got your shit together. Well, that's exactly why I need coaching, right? Because I
Yes.
have the work together, but I don't have my personal side together. And this is the reason why I'm doing it.
Mhm.
Because people are going to want to keep you at the level that they're comfortable with you at. And if you only keep your boundaries, or you keep your the standards to someone else's standard, you're never going to live your life, because
No.
you're living your life based on someone else's standards. And when we put other people before us, now again, I'd like to say our friends and family, they mean the best. They truly, I think the people we have surrounded, their intention is
Mhm.
wonderful. The subconscious is much stronger though. And if you give the person if you, meaning us as a person, if
Right.
we allow the person the opportunity to utilize us to benefit them, they will take advantage of that day in and day out.
And I have allowed that to happen to me
Yep.
over the years so
Yep.
many times that it wasn't until I started going through modules that I realized that's what I had been doing.
Yep. Yep. And I
But it
love,
was
and that's why I have the word grace here, is because
yes.
this is where we don't look back with shame, blame, or condemnation. We don't look back with any I would wish I would have, could have, should have. It's just we look back with a sort of with an awareness now that I am going to extend myself grace, because
Mhm.
that pattern and that minimum standard that I was holding for myself is
Mhm.
no longer valid and accurate. I'm creating new standards. And
Yes.
what we learn is that as we create our new standards, we give permission for people to meet those standards with us. They
Yes.
could choose. And if they do, great, come along on the ride on my bus. Happy
Mhm.
to have you. If they choose not to, that's okay too. Bye.
I'm okay with
Right?
it.
Like, I'm okay with it, and what we
I'm
realize
okay
is
with
this
it.
there's this reckoning that happens, is people who
Mhm.
we thought would be with us for a long time,
Yeah.
sort of you just weed themselves out, and people who we never would have imagined come to into our life, come into our life in the most interesting of ways, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's amazing
Yes.
because we get
I
out of the general contractor's role of us managing someone else's issues, someone else's problems, trying to avoid or helping someone else avoid the pain, right? Because we think we're doing the good thing, but actually what we're doing is we're just hurting ourselves.
We're hurting ourselves. Yeah.
And not only hurting ourselves, we are
I think it's to detriment.
that's what I'm thinking. It's like
Yeah.
a limp we're creating. We're hurt. It's to our detriment. We're literally clipping our wings.
Yes. Yes. Like
Now,
you'll never be able to fly
and then
because
what ends up happening, right? Now, again, this is my metaphorical view is, here we are in our cage, right? The proverbial cage that we have the boundaries, right? And so we're helping everybody else fly and be free, but
Mhm.
they're going to fly, right? They're going to be free. We're going to do all the work, and then we're left in the
Mhm.
cage with our
Yes.
wings clipped, not able to go anywhere. But
Yes.
meanwhile, everybody else has gone on their way, flown south for the winter,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
We're
They're
helping all
they're
these
they're ha-
people.
they're gallivanting in the pond, and we're not there. So
Right.
it does come to the realization and the permission that we deserve freedom too,
Yes.
and it doesn't
And that's
have
where
to
that
come.
grace comes in.
That's
You
right, with the grace, and it
Mhm.
doesn't come at the expense of anybody else. Guess what? This is the concept of abundance. There's much freedom for everybody.
Yes.
You taking the freedom for yourself is not going to take away someone else's freedom or liberation
Mm.
or anything. Matter of fact, it's going to multiply.
It's
It
gonna
actually
make it
creates
more is what
more,
I was gonna say. Yes. Yes.
right?
Same. Mhm.
It creates more, and we have a purpose. We're waking up knowing this is my mission. This is my purpose. Either come along with me or move out of my way, because I'm either going around you or through you. So
Yes.
decide,
Your
right? Because
choice. Yeah.
you got your option, and everybody at the end of the day, the real truth is everybody has the opportunity to rise to
Mhm.
their authentic power. Not everybody is going to accept, and even for yourself, took you
Yeah.
a little time,
It did.
right? You learned things and you seen things and but there was something inside that you answered your call,
Yes.
and you allowed, for that moment you chose you, and you allowed your, what I would say, your vision of your future to become more important than the pain of the past.
Absolutely. And that doesn't mean that you don't
Yep.
have, buyer's remorse, right? When going in, you think,
Always.
"What am I doing? What
This
was I
is why I
thinking?"
say the first time, right? And I share this with you.
Yes.
The first time I give everybody a reframe statement when they join Divorcing
Yeah.
Gracefully and Beyond, because it is buyer's remorse. It doesn't matter, again, if it's 4 cents or 400,000, it doesn't
Mhm.
matter.
Yes.
Our brain is in fight or flight. Our brain is going to look at what's wrong. It's going to scan the environment. The moment you say yes to yourself, that's your true source.
Exactly.
That's your spirit saying, I'm here and I'm ready. And thank you for hearing me. And then right behind it, the brain will come in and be like, what the hell did you just do? Like,
Yes.
is this really going to work for you? Are you freaking crazy?
And I'm a former math teacher and I work with data. So like I'm very analytical and I
Yeah.
approach things very systematically. So like it was really hard for me. And that's probably why it took 2 months, to be quite
Yep.
honest,
Yep.
to say, okay, yes, I'm gonna do this. And
And
then
it's probably also why, if, going through that, those programs that are embedded in you on the financial
Mhm.
piece, that as you moved forward in making moves, again, it doesn't have to necessarily be financial, just moves in yourself for happiness. Your
Right.
brain doesn't know how to keep you alive necessarily in that
Mhm.
state because it's not familiar, right? And on the other sides it is, but this side, the personal side, it's not. So it's going to scan. Our brain has a file cabinet, and it looks at what is the thing that is going to step up Danielle. What is the thing that
Mhm.
I could create for her to bring her back to her past.
Our comfort. Yeah.
Right? And
Not
money,
even comfort, but it's
like,
like
yeah, money,
what
of
you
course, is
know.
gonna be it. So there's of course, there had to be some sort of money jumble stuff going on, right? Because that was the opportunity for your brain to say, "I'm gonna use this opportunity, and this is what I'm gonna it's my data. I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna use it as bait. Danielle, come over here.
Mhm.
Look, there's a money issue going on. Come follow me
Mhm.
back."
And that, I mean, the money situation that originally started was due to divorce, right? Like it just
100%. Yeah,
naturally
yes.
happened. And of course I'm crawling out of it now, but it's a lot of the conversation of to myself, the story I'm telling myself in my head. And so the 4 cent check, heck yeah, I'm gonna
Yes,
take it,
and we got a
because
new story we're creating because
yes,
we
because
told the
next
story.
time it could be $4, it could be $40, it could be $400, but I know that it's always gonna be more than 4 cents.
Did Jackie tell you her story on those commission, not commission,
Yes.
insurance checks
Yes.
that she got,
Yes.
right? Out of nowhere, she just got, I think it was like two $400 checks because Michigan, that's what I was going to say. Michigan has this new, they had a new thing with insurance, and out of nowhere, she got two $400 checks because she has two cars.
Nice. I
Did I ever
remember
tell you the
that.
story about when right when I got out of my divorce, um, I was in a space where the funds were so constricted, right? And that also was what I would say what was my Achilles heel was finances, which is
Mhm.
quite surprising because I started out as an accountant, right?
Okay.
In even through my younger years, I was the one who put money in a bank, and that's what I helped my friends save, and so it was like it's just so interesting how what you're skilled in could be your greatest fear, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
anyway, interesting. I was at this place, and I was at a point where I was just finishing my divorce, and literally every single cent I had was like gone. Like
Mhm.
I had less than zero, right? It was much debt, probably close to 50 to $100,000 in debt, like significant
Yeah.
debt because of the divorce and all of the things. But anyway,
Yes.
now my car payment, because I had at the time it was a Honda Pilot, and I was leasing it, and the lease was coming due. And I really started getting into a little bit of a panic. And this is before I was learning, right, what I teach, right, and all of this. I was beginning my path of learning this, but I was thinking, my gosh, I can't get a new lease because my credit at that point wasn't good. So I'm thinking, how am I going to get a new lease if I credit? If how am I going to buy a new car with my credit the way it is? I can't buy my lease out. I don't have enough for that. I don't have enough to buy a new car, but I live in New York. I need a car. Like literally, there's no walking here. You have to get in your car to drive everywhere. Plus, I had two small children, right? I'm
Yeah.
like, what am I going to do? And so again, this is the beginning of my journey as I was learning and applying all the same principles that I'm teaching you. And I focused on my outcome, and I
Mhm.
just knew, I said, this is the amount that I'm need. Let's just say it was $7,000, right?
Okay.
And you might as well have told me it was 7 million.
Right.
It didn't matter, right? But 7,000. And the days coming closer and closer and closer. I have to return the car. I got to return the car. And that was the buyout amount, right? It was seven. And I'm like, now it's a day before, the next day. Now, the day before. Now, when I tell you the amount was 7,000, let's say $6,957.63 or something like that,
Uh-huh.
out of nowhere. Now, again, there were moments of panic, but throughout the whole time, I was focused on my outcome. I focused that I am keeping this car, that this car is because it's safe, it's
Mhm.
dependable, that I'm driving it. I wasn't cleaning it out with the anticipation I was giving it back. I was actually just this was it. My outcome was this was going to be my car. A day before, a day before. Now I try to make it I try to like work with the universe, like universe, give me a little more time, right? I don't want to put it right up to that. But anyway, day before my mother calls me. Now she had an aunt, a wealthy aunt who had passed away many, many years ago, right? Her
Mhm.
estate was essentially closed, done and closed. Out of nowhere, my mother calls me and says somehow there was a part of the estate that hadn't been taken care of, and they sent her a check, and my mother knew that I needed the money for the car, and it was within cents of what the payoff was.
Mhm.
Within cents. And so this is what I talk about our power to manifest, our power to create, our power to have on purpose, and because it doesn't matter if it's a car, if
Mhm.
it's bringing in a partner, if
Mhm.
it's changing our patterns and our beliefs. Like, it's the same principles and the same philosophy, and anything is possible. And that was my, what I would say, that really cemented in the
Right.
work and the belief system of just what's possible. And it's been like this amazing, what I would say, uncovering of gifts since then. Doesn't
Right.
mean everything is good, right? Doesn't mean that our outside circumstances are unicorns and rainbows, but what it means is we have power.
Mhm.
We have purpose. We have direction.
Yes. Yes. And I think it really is that belief system, like believing that you are going to, and that's why I was telling you, I don't know if it was before we got started, but it
Yes.
was, I am telling myself I will have an abundance of financial.
Okay. And so I'm going to put this in the
Yes.
chat. I want you to read it for me, right?
Okay.
Because this is where the rubber hits the road at Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond, right? And that's where we take our beliefs, right? Hold on one second.
Okay. I'm like, I don't see it. There it goes. Believing turns into command.
We don't just believe, we command.
Yes.
I
Yes.
will have this, right? Because
Well, and
we
that's how
believe it.
yes. Well,
But
that's
we're
how I'm
commanding.
saying it now.
Yes.
It's so different than, oh,
Yeah.
I wish, I hope, I dream. No, it's not that anymore.
No.
It's
It's
I
an
will
inherent.
have this. Yes. So like for me, it is always about finances since the divorce, but that's, that will change because I'm willing it to change.
It is changing.
Yeah, well, it
It's
already
it's
has.
alr Yeah, it's already done. And now what we get to say is when that, what I would say, the ticket to the circus shows up around finances,
Yes.
we no longer take the bait. We're like, "Wait a minute.
No,
Nope,
not at all.
nope." Now again, it doesn't mean that their action doesn't need to be taken, or that things
Mhm.
have to be shifted around. Again, like, it takes we have to manifest it, right? But what it does mean for us is we are no longer the victim to the circumstance.
No,
We are
not at
the
all.
master of cause. And our
Yes.
belief system is we have more than enough. Our belief system is that we are expanding into ourselves. We're expanding into who we are. And as we elevate ourselves, the abundance comes in all areas, in
Yes.
finances, wealth of health, wealth of spirit, wealth of finances, wealth of the
Everything.
partner I mean, literally
Yes.
everything,
Yes.
everything. And I think the freedom comes as women who've been through a divorce, or, we have carried the burden on our shoulder, paving the brick road at the same time,
Mhm.
right? Like, here, like, if you think about it, like, we're carrying the burdens of our family. We're birthing kids on the road. We're handling this. We're working. We're doing,
Mhm.
and we're taking the brick by the sweat of our brows and putting each brick in and putting the mortar in and then putting the next brick, and that brick breaks, and and we're now we're actually able to observe, and it's a divine brick path that's being created for us.
Yes.
It's even more beautiful than we could imagine.
Yes. So
I
far it
can't
is.
wait to see where
Yep.
your journey is. So what's your focus? What's your focus? What's your future? What do you want to put into place?
Yeah. So what I want to put into place is a new job
Yes.
that will allow me 100% remote
Yep.
and making more than I make now.
Yep.
Definitely a life partner is in that journey as
Yep.
well, and someone to do all things with, right? A best friend, and to be financially sound. Those
Yes.
are the things that I am willing to happen. Yeah,
Yes. And you're allowing to happen, and you're commanding to
absolutely,
happen.
absolutely,
And so
absolutely.
Luann just wrote in, she knows we passed this point. She didn't want to comment and not thank you, right? She said, just last night, someone said to her, give yourself grace.
Mhm.
And so she's saying, thank you for reiterating that.
Oh, absolutely,
There's no
absolutely.
coincidence. This is the spirit coming
No.
through, guys, right, Luann? Like, you hearing that and
Mhm.
then having Danielle reiterate that to you is your God wink. That's
Mhm.
exactly what's needed. And this is your angels and your guides and your spirits coming down in just this conversation to reiterate that fact, right? Just as
Oh,
Danielle, right?
definitely.
We were talking about the purpose, and I happened to wear this
Yes,
shirt, right? Luann was saying yes, 100%.
absolutely.
So this is the power of the conversation. This is the
Mhm.
power of, when I did a Facebook Live on this the other day about not lying to ourselves and saying we're okay, because the truth is we are not okay.
No. And I think that's what happens.
Yeah.
We just keep telling ourselves we're
We're
okay,
okay.
and then
We're
not
okay.
addressing
Right.
like the real nitty gritty, if you
We're not
will.
addressing the real issue, right?
Yeah,
And then what ends
yeah,
up happening, years go by, we end up just doing the same patterns where the bird's hitting the window, can't figure it out, right?
yes.
We're blaming other people and other things. And again, we have this, what I would say, this esoteric belief, well, no, I can take accountability, but are we? We're really not. We're really not.
So many times
Yeah.
I would say, like, put on that front and say,
Yes.
I'm okay, you know? And yes, a lot of things were okay,
Right.
but
Yes.
I wasn't okay.
That's right. And that's a big differentiator. So for those of you who have been here on this conversation with Danielle and I know we went a little over, but Danielle, I mean, we could talk for hours. Like we could
Yes,
keep going. How about we
yes.
keep going? You know,
I love it.
me too. And to see where you've come in 5 weeks,
I know.
who would have thunk it?
Not me.
Who would have thunk it? And that's where, again, I will say this over and over and over again. Do not buy in to the belief that it has to take you 20 years or 10 years, or it takes a long time, or you can't heal in a short period of time. Because listen, healing is never, there's never an end point to it, right? It's never
No,
like, oh, I'm healed, period.
right.
That every day we're alive, there's something for us to discover and heal and refine. And again, it doesn't mean that it's bad, right? But if you are waking up in the middle of the night and you're not where you want, your heart is not where you want it to be, you're not waking up and you're saying to yourself, I really would like someone to be in this pillow next to me. Doesn't mean you need him now. Doesn't mean you can't take care of yourself, but it's time to get honest with yourself and say, but I've got to do that for me first, right? If I want someone to show up for me and be present, be loyal, be loving, be committed, then I've got to do that first for myself. And I got to get truthful with myself. And as a successful woman, actually getting coached and doing the work is what smart, successful women do.
Right.
And getting out of the mode and of what people think you should be doing or how you should be handling it, or like, talking shit about, like, oh, you're fine, just get over it. Don't listen. You could believe them, but you might as well, if someone walks off a bridge, right? We tell our children, would you walk off the bridge with them? No, you wouldn't. Nothing
Right.
changes. It doesn't matter if you're 12 or you're 50. The advice still prevails. Don't
Yes.
follow the masses.
No. And it's true, Donna. There's so many times that I was
Yeah.
told, like, oh, it's going to take at least 5 years, or it's going to take at least this amount of
Yeah.
time. And I'm sorry, but there is, like you said, there's no timeline.
There is no timeline for
It's
you.
yeah,
If that's what you believe, then all the power to you.
right. But that's not,
That's not what I believe.
no.
That's not what I believe. Yeah. And how many times have I had a conversation with women, who are telling me about their story? And I'll ask them, how long was your divorce? Oh, 30 years ago, or 20 years ago, or 15. And they're talking about it as if
It happened
it
yesterday.
happened literally, or they were even still in it. Now, again, I'm not judging that person, but what I
Right.
am saying is that person and that person's path gives me the permission to say to myself, to give me the contrast. I don't want that. Sometimes we don't necessarily know what we want, but we find out what we want by experiencing what we don't
Don't
want.
want. Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's not the case. Right. And this is not woo woo stuff. Like Danielle and I said, everything we do at Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond is based in data. It's based in science. It's based in spirituality. There's nothing that is taught here or that I haven't done myself. Right. And that's, like you said, do not believe the masses. Just don't. Refuse to believe it. Now, again, if you choose to believe it, then that's okay. We love you anyway, but then don't expect a different result.
Right.
Right.
Definition of insanity.
The definition of insanity, right?
Doing the same thing, expecting something different to
Yes,
happen. Yes, it
yes.
doesn't happen that way.
The only way that you're going to change that pattern is making a decision for yourself and saying yes, like you did.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And saying yes. That's it.
Best
And we get,
decision ever.
yes, best. And this is how, like, true, when you say that,
Yeah.
you make Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond, right? There's a spot that was meant for you, Danielle.
Absolutely.
Like that divine spot, and you see it in your sisters. You see it in the conversations. Like,
I do.
timing is there.
It
It
is.
presents itself, and you don't have to worry, because, and again, when I say that with grace, because I know when it comes time to investing in ourselves and doing things, it could be something that is different. We maybe we have never done it before, right? But when you realize that after, like, wow, this is the reason why, because I have support, I have community, I have focus, my whole life is changing, my children's life is changing, my staff's life is changing. Like it's,
Mhm.
you realize like, oh my God,
Yeah.
thank God. And I'm so happy that you're here and that you're a sister.
And like, and another thing, like totally off topic, but totally related, all in the same, is like I've lost 8 pounds.
Have you? I didn't know
Yes.
this. That's
Yes.
fantastic.
It's just one of those things like, no, my health priority, and this is how I'm going to do it. And go down.
Wow, I did not know that. That's fantastic
Yes.
because you're
Yes.
also making a decision for you're not like, okay, I like to say when our spirit is activated, right? That, and that's what you said about now you're waking up in the morning, it's not the long alarm clock. When we're in that space of let's just call it gray wallpaper. We're not motivated to do anything. We're not unmotivated. It's like it's just gray wallpaper.
Just blah.
It's just, and so we don't necessarily make the healthiest decisions or we don't do the
Right.
things, but when we're activated and we have spirit and soul rushing
Mhm.
through our veins and we see how we make better decisions, we make better choices. Our body physiologically will just operate in a better way without us even realizing like what are we doing? It's because it's all internal.
Yes.
The
Yes.
emotion, it's not the heaviness. We don't have the sandbags. We actually
So much
have
lighter.
flight.
So
Right?
much lighter.
Lighter.
Yes.
And literally for you.
Literally.
Literally for
Literally.
you.
Yes. Yes.
Literally. Fantastic. All right.
Yeah.
So anything else that you would like to share with anybody before we close for today?
No, just do it for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And if you've been following us and these conversations, you know that here at Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond, our doors are open. And if you wish, first step, watch the masterclass that I have, right? And if the masterclass fits you and you feel like, okay, Donna, this is a conversation I want to have, then you could book a breakthrough call where it's
Mhm.
an honest conversation. If
Yeah.
if I feel DG is for you, I'll let you know. But if I feel it's not, I'm going to let you know that too. And if not with me, then find a coaching community that fits you. But don't
Mhm.
do it alone.
No.
Right? This is not something you could go alone. Here at Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond, this is all we focus on. So we have a system and a process, right? And we know what works and we get the transformation.
Mhm.
But, it doesn't mean that we're the best coach for you. There may be someone else out there and so be it. But do not go through this alone. Right?
Mhm.
Make sure that you find the right community for you. And if DGB you feel is your place, then watch the masterclass, book a call, and let's get you going because it
Yes.
things change. People going back to what people say right in the beginning, even
Mhm.
myself, if I would have been told, way, way, way back then that we would be getting the results that we're getting now, I don't know if I would have believed it.
Right.
I really wouldn't. I would have been skeptical. I don't know, but now we know. We have enough evidence to know. And so you could be like Danielle, right? 3 to 4 weeks in, 5 weeks in, could be getting into that mode. What would be a better summer present for you? If I think about it, right? If we're in May, my
Mm.
gosh, this would be
Summer's
perfect.
here.
So, yep, it's here. Just
Well,
in
it is
time.
in Texas. I don't know about y'all. It's already 100 on some days here, so.
I'm waiting for 100. I know you must think I'm crazy, but it's only, what is it today? It's like in the 60s or 70s. So,
Oh, yeah, no,
chilly,
it's been hot.
but
So it's
yeah.
it's it's summer here, but definitely that would be an amazing summer gift.
Well, Chickalina, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Love this conversation. So I'll
Yes,
catch
thank
you
you
on the
for
other
having
side.
me.
Mwah! Love ya. I'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.